We got Josh Allen as our quarterback, starting number 17 from Wyoming, Josh Allen. Are you excited? Should you be? Welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and in this episode, we will be talking about should we be excited now that Josh Allen has been named the starter of the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, week one did not go according to plan with Nathan Peterman as the starter. Obviously he did not play well, but neither did Josh Allen. So I'm not sure why everyone else is so excited. It feels like people are saying that now that we have a new starting quarterback, that is going to solve all of our issues, and I just don't know if I believe it. But welcome to Believers Talk. If you're new, we just sit here, we talk about Bills content. We will constantly get out new Bills content, and in that light, let's go over some other Buffalo Bills transactions before we really get into the topic of conversation, which is Josh Allen as the new starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. So yesterday was September 11th, and on September 11th, the Buffalo Bills released offensive lineman Gerard DeBeer from the practice squad. So if you like the last name, you thought it was fun. Unfortunately, he is no longer with the team. He was released from the practice squad. He is no longer a Buffalo Bill. So as of today, we have signed Kyle Pico, a defensive tackle, to the practice squad. We claimed guard Ike Boettger off waivers and released cornerback Ryan Lewis. So those were the transactions that happened today. So that kind of gets us caught up on what has happened with the Buffalo Bills in the last few days. So again, welcome to Believers Talk. In this episode, we just broke down some new transactions for you, but we mainly want to talk about the announcement earlier this morning of Josh Allen being named the starter for the Buffalo Bills, obviously replacing Nathan Peterman. And this really scares me, guys. I'm not going to lie. In the last episode, I went back and forth over if I was a fan of this move or not. Still, obviously, can go back and forth about this. Is Josh Allen ready? And we have to believe by his preseason week 3 appearance and the fact that Sean McDermott started Nathan Peterman over Josh Allen, that the answer was no. As of week 1 of the NFL, well, let's go back, guys. Let's go back. In the preseason, Steve and I both said, and there were a lot of you out there saying, if Josh Allen beats the other quarterbacks by leaps and bounds, you have to start him. But if they're even, or maybe if Josh Allen's just a little ahead, you have to start the veteran. Now, obviously, back then, the veteran would have been A.J. McCarron that we were talking about. I feel like we don't even have a veteran quarterback on this team anymore, guys. So I really don't. Like, we have two. Welcome, Fox 87. Thanks for joining us. Is it cold there? I'm wearing my jacket. No, it's not cold, but it's rainy. So this is my raincoat. Just came in from the outside. So I wanted to get on here as fast as I could. Unfortunately, when the announcement was made, I was at work. I was like, I want to get on here and talk to you guys about the announcement. But now I can get on there. Is it Josh Allen's time? I hope so. But we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to break this down. You guys probably are not going to like what I have to say. But I don't know if we should be as excited as people are making it out to be. So first, what I want to say is we go back to the preseason, and in the preseason we were all talking, and there, not just us, there were other social media sites out there talking about this as well, that were saying, if he looks that much better than everybody else, then we have to start him. We have no other option. Well, he didn't. That's why we didn't start him. He didn't look better than Peterman. Actually, Peterman looked better than him. He didn't look better than A.J. McCarron. Well, maybe a little bit, but maybe that's why we traded A.J. McCarron. But you go back to that third preseason game, which I know no one cares about preseason, but that third game's the important one, right, guys? That's like the dress rehearsal, as everyone calls it. And you look at Nathan Peterman's Josh Allen's stats: 6 for 12, 34 yards. I mean, and sacked 5 times. That's another issue. Obviously, all those sacks were not his fault, but that's another issue, guys. We lost 47-3. We're going to blame that on the quarterback? That's it. Just the quarterback. We're just going to say it's the quarterback's fault. Going back to the other transactions we made, we did release Adolphus Washington, so he's no longer with us either. But I don't know. I just don't really know. I agree with everyone who says that we cannot win with Nathan Peterman. I agree. But at this time, can we win with Josh Allen? Can we? Because if we can't, there's no going back now, guys. It's not like we can do this seesaw battle between Josh Allen and Nathan Peterman. Because if we do that, we destroy this kid. We destroy him before we even get started. So now that Josh Allen's in there, he's our starter the rest of the way, unless he gets hurt. But now what do you do with Nathan Peterman, right? Nathan Peterman is now a backup. Are you going to have, let's say something does happen to Josh Allen. We're going to put Nathan Peterman back in the game. We haven't signed a new quarterback, guys. So our two quarterbacks, are we going to start Logan Thomas? I mean, our two quarterbacks right now are still Josh Allen, Nathan Peterman. And where's Nathan Peterman's head at? I just don't like the moves. I just don't like the moves we've made at the quarterback position. Maybe I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong, why didn't he start week 1? Why didn't Josh Allen start week 1 if I'm wrong? I mean, is he going to come out and be a gunslinger? Because he wasn't in the Cincinnati game. He wasn't in the second half of the Baltimore Ravens game. He just wasn't. Was he better than Nathan Peterman? Maybe. But is that all the more reason to sit him a little bit longer and get him that confidence built up and to get him ready for when he is ready to go in? I mean, how many times have we seen it? How many times have we seen quarterbacks go in before they're ready and just get demolished, and then their confidence gets destroyed, and then they're nothing? Then they're nothing. Let me get to some of the comments. Again, welcome to Believers Talk if you are here for the first time. My name is Joe. I don't know if I said that. But thank you for joining us. If you're new to the channel, we go live a lot, and we definitely go live on Sundays. Game day, I'll be here live for commentary and play-by-play and reaction for you. So if you are not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Follow us on Facebook. Like us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. You know how I do it. I don't know what that means. But I just hope Sunday isn't another blowout. I don't know what will happen if it is. What happens if we lose 47-3 again on Sunday? We have to keep, like I said, we have to keep Josh Allen in. So we just let the kid get destroyed. Do we look what quarterbacks are available? Do we start looking there? Because what happens next, guys? What's our next move? Peterman is a nice guy. I don't know the guy personally, so I'm not going to sit here and say he's not a nice guy. But we've seen a game and a half from him, right? Played the first half of the Chargers game in the regular season. Played the first half of the Chargers game last year. Played the first half of the Colts game. Played the first half of Sunday's game. We have 7 interceptions, 1 touchdown. It's not good. Not good. But, I mean, you could say we only have a game and a half of film on him, but it doesn't look like it's getting any better. I mean, there was an out to Benjamin that I commented during the live stream that he definitely did a double take before he actually threw the ball. You have to throw at the break. Benjamin might have extra 5 yards up the sideline, and that might not seem like much, but 5 yards is huge, especially when you're punting all the time. So, yeah. Jim Kelly went 2-14 in his first season. Give the kid some time to develop. We can give the time. What's wrong giving the kid time to develop as a backup? Here's my hope right now. I really hope Sean McDermott has talked to Josh Allen and said, no matter what happens this season, you're our future. I believe with what Josh Allen has been through as far as being told he can't do things throughout his whole career, that he is mentally tough. I really do believe that. And so I hope that's the case, because if he's mentally tough, he can afford to do a 2-14 season. I guess now it's going to be 1-14, and still be able to recover from that next season. If he's not, we're in big trouble, because quarterback isn't our only position of concern here, guys. I mean, yes, Jim Kelly went 2-14 in his first season, but shortly after we got Jim Kelly, we got Thurman Thomas. We got Bruce Smith 3 years later. I mean, the team started to develop more and more to go around that quarterback. Well, we need to start doing that. And maybe we are. I mean, we got Tremaine Edmonds, who I, again, said before on the previous live stream, that was the one bright spot, or one of the few bright spots of this team on Sunday. We have Marcus Murphy, who is a young running back. I'm not sure if he'll ever be good enough to be a starter, but maybe he will be, because he actually played more snaps than McCoy did in this game. just due to the fact that we were getting blown out, and so they didn't play McCoy as much. And he also had a better yards per carry average than McCoy did in this game. Now, why was that? There could be multiple different reasons for that, but the facts are the facts. These are the facts. So with Marcus Murphy, I'm a huge fan of Milano. We have Harrison Phillips. We are getting younger. And maybe that's us beginning to build these pieces around this young quarterback. And if that's the case, then hopefully in a couple of years, if Josh Allen can get through this part, then we can actually start winning some games. And that's what matters, right? I'm willing to go through, I saw on Twitter, I think the other day, someone said, everyone wants the six-pack. They're just not willing to go through the work to get them. And like someone said, that's a good analogy. I think it was over the guys over at Cover One. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what they said. And they really like that analogy. Guys, getting good takes work. It takes work. The Patriots didn't become good overnight. It wasn't like Tom Brady came in and, oh, wait. Yeah, it kind of was like that, wasn't it? But let's be honest. That's a rare case. That's definitely a rare case. But you look at some of the other great teams, it didn't just happen. Like these things take time, and growing pain. When you're talking about a team that barely made the playoffs after missing for 18 seasons, we talk about fan base, about growing pains. They kind of just snarl at you a little bit, get a little angry at you. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Our coaching decision, then Josh Allen. It's funny. How much of this is on Dable? Because last year no one was questioning our coaching decisions, were they? Other than who? Dennison, right? The only person we questioned is the guy that got fired at the end of the year, and that's Rick Dennison. So, is this on Dable? Will Sean McDermott act like this is on Dable? I would. If I could get away with it, I would. Yeah. Oh, it's that offensive coordinator. This guy that I brought here, I don't know what he was thinking, starting Nathan Peterman. But we all know the truth. We all know that this was Coach McDermott's decision to start Nathan Peterman, and it just didn't work out. Maybe we should commend Coach McDermott for learning from his mistakes after 1 week and saying, you know what, let's start the kid and see what happens. But as far as Coach McDermott goes, when it comes to making offensive-minded decisions, I'm not sure how much confidence I have in him, which is a fair argument. He was a defensive coordinator in Carolina. He was a defensive coordinator in Philadelphia. He knows defense. So we need to get someone in there who knows how to run an offense. Is that Brian Dable? Is it? I have no proof. I have no proof to say it is. I have Super Bowl wins with Tom Brady. I have national championships with Nick Saban. Like, that happens. I could be the quarterback coach in New England five years ago, and no one would know the difference. I could be the offensive coordinator in Alabama, and would anyone know the difference? I don't know. I really don't know, because that defense is always so dominant. Who knows? I think he's talking about Marcus Murphy, Fox 87. I think we're all a big fan of Marcus Murphy. I don't like the move that AJ got traded in the first place. Yeah, I didn't like that either. I didn't like AJ getting traded. The only way I would have liked AJ getting traded is if we would have brought another veteran in. If AJ gets traded and we bring in another veteran quarterback, I don't think it's that big of a deal, because AJ McCarron is the same as any other veteran quarterback that's currently on the free agent market. Someone to hold a clipboard, come in for a couple games, things of that nature. We just saw Matt Castle, a guy that I was screaming for at one point. Matt Castle playing Monday night for Detroit. Yes, Detroit got killed, but he was in there and he's able to throw the ball and he's able to try to make it look respectable. That game was 17-17 at one point. I believe Matthew Stafford was in for up to that point too, though. So, but still, we need a serviceable veteran. That's what we need on this team. And it's not necessarily to play. Like I said, now that Josh Allen's been named the starter, he needs to stay the starter all year unless he gets hurt. But we need a veteran quarterback to come in to hold the clipboard and teach this kid. No one goes in there overnight. Like, we have Nathan Peterman as his tutor. Guys, again, he's played 3 halves and he has 1 touchdown, 7 interceptions. And we expect great things. I don't understand how we can expect great things from that. Bring in Warren Moon as a quarterback coach for all I care. Like, I don't care, but bring in a veteran guy. someone who's been there, someone who knows how the grind of an NFL season. Nathan Peterman doesn't know the grind of an NFL season. He played 2 games last year. Sure, he got concussed, so he knows about that. But come on, like, I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong, and Josh Allen could come out on fire. Remember I equate this to the Bears-Packers game this past Sunday night. I don't know if anyone watched it. But in the first half of that game, the Bears had their way with the Packers offensive line. Khalil Mack had a all-star first half. I mean, it was probably one of the best first halves a defensive players ever had. He had a strip fumble, he had an interception, and he had a touchdown. Oh yeah, and he had a sack. Like, no one does that in one half. But what happened in the second half? Nobody touched Aaron Rodgers. The offensive line stood firm. Khalil Mack, you didn't hear from him the rest of the game. And his stat line still looks great, of course, because of that first half he had. But man, no one got to touch Aaron Rodgers. That's how clean it was. So maybe it's that comparison. Maybe I'm completely off base. Maybe Josh Allen comes in, he gets the protection he needs somehow. They woke up and decided to start blocking. Ducasse learns how to not get penalties and starts blocking. Miller stops getting penalties and starts blocking. Who knows? McCoy starts acting like McCoy of old. Kelvin Benjamin actually makes catches along the sidelines instead of dropping them. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, like I said, it's not on the quarterback. 47-3, you can't blame on the quarterback. Come on. We're smarter than that. AJ McCarron trade was short-sighted. Absolutely. Offensive, yes. Not addressing the offensive line is dumb. Trying to bring in Mark Newhouse, Ducasse. Like, come on, really? I don't know. I just really don't know. We'll see. But how much, how would we have addressed the offensive line? Free agent offensive line market wasn't that good. Maybe got Soldier, right? We could have got Soldier, I think, from free agency. I don't know. I'm sure they would have made it work somehow. I mean, we made a lot of splash moves in free agency. I mean, we could have made that one instead of some other ones, maybe. But you talk about the draft. I think we would have crucified Bean if he didn't pick up a quarterback in the first round, right? And so are you talking about not picking up Tremaine Edmonds, who's going to be our centerpiece on defense for the next, hopefully for the next 10, 12, 15 years? I don't know. I think I've had Girl Scouts get through our offensive line. It's possible. I don't even think we need the whole pack of them, to be honest with you. Just give me 5. Just give me 5 of them. I think they could do it. Especially if they have cookies on them, like, want some Thin Mints? See ya. Kurt Warner watched the game and said he had no clue what Dable was trying to do in passing game. Well, no one has no clue what Dable was trying to do in the passing game. Do you know why? Because we didn't have a quarterback who could pass the ball. And that's not necessarily all his fault. We didn't have an offensive line who could block for him long enough for him to pass the ball. And when we did get an offensive line long enough for him to pass the ball, guess what happened? They dropped him. I don't know. And if you watch, other than Zay Jones, no one got separation. Now, Kelvin Benjamin, that's his game. He'll never get separation. Throw him a 50-50 ball, he'll come down with it, though. But I don't think anyone can say what Dable was trying to do on that offense. Do you know why? Because that offense looked shook from the beginning. I mean, they start the game with a 10-play, 80-yard drive, score a touchdown at will. We go out there and we look like a deer in headlights. And it wasn't just the quarterback, guys. It wasn't just Nathan Peterman. It was almost like they've never seen an NFL stadium before, and they were just kind of like, oh, wow. I actually mentioned during the live stream, like, watch Ducasse on a couple of plays. Like, if no one's right in front of him, he's kind of just looking around. Like, no one's here, so I don't have anything to do. I might as well just watch. Especially on, I think on the Suggs sack, you watch him, he's just kind of looking around when Peterman's kind of running around for his life back there, and he's just like, yeah, I got no one to block. So, and so I don't know. Which veteran quarterback do I think we should bring in? Well, let's look at free agent. I'll tell you right now. I mean, gosh, Sanchez is still out there. And again, I know we always laugh at Sanchez. We always think of the butt fumble. But Sanchez has been around, guys. Sanchez understands what it takes to be a QB in the NFL. He might not be a good QB, but they also say like some of the best head coaches were backup quarterbacks. You know, you look at the league right now, there's a bunch of ex-backup quarterbacks who are head coaches, and they're doing all right, including last year's Super Bowl win coach. I mean, so it's not, all right, not Colin Kaepernick, not that, but we're looking at Colin Clemens, EJ Manuel, Mark Sanchez. I mean, these are all capable guys. I think Mark Sanchez might be my favorite out of that list. You know, EJ Manuel, he doesn't know what it's like to play a full season. Colin Clemens, Colin Clemens has been around, so wouldn't mind that. But, I mean, it's not that hard. We could have drafted O-line, but, went like, okay, third, because I like both of our first-round picks. We got that quarterback that we said we needed or wanted, right? And then we got Tremaine Edmunds. Okay, so there goes all of our first-round and all of our second-round picks, okay? So you're talking about the third round, Steph Harrison Phillips. Well, what offensive linemen were available at that point? I'm just saying. I'm just making the argument, right? Like, let's say Tremaine Edmunds is our centerpiece on defense for the next 15 years. Because everyone's talking about, oh, we need to address our offensive line, and I'm not disagreeing with you. Our offensive line is terrible, but Tremaine Edmunds is our centerpiece on defense at middle linebacker for the next 15 years, 10 years, whatever it is. Are you willing to give that up? I'm not. Middle linebacker on defense to me is just as important to a defense as a quarterback is to the offense. He's the one calling out the plays. He's the one trying to get people in position before the play starts. Like, that's what he does. So I like that. So are you talking maybe in the fourth round, third round, instead of Harrison Phillips, who didn't do much as far as in the first game of the year? I personally like Harrison Phillips. Would I trade him for a good offensive lineman? Probably. At this point, probably. But then you're looking at our defensive line and saying, oh, look at that weak defensive line. Kyle Williams is going to have to hold his own again. You know what I mean? Like that's the argument you kind of get into. Are we building that rock solid defense? And then we're going to work with, because again, next year we have so much cap space. We have 10 draft picks. We have all the pieces needed to build, right? To continue to build. But we'll see. We could bring in Matt Moore. Matt Moore is actually a good one too. I think Matt Moore would be right up there. Concept-wise, offense was terrible. All 11 personnel and no shifts or movement. We did have some shifts. We had McCoy line up as wide receiver, come back into the backfield. There were a couple times where we shifted out. But Dable, let's not get on Dable's back already. Like, it's been 1 week. Let's see what happens. I mean, I don't think he was expecting the onslaught that we took on Sunday. I don't think anyone was. Sean McDermott wasn't. Leslie Frazier wasn't. That defense wasn't. So why would we expect him to be ready for it? But then again, we could argue that was his fault or the offense's fault that happened. It goes back and forth. Leaving the line this bad. They did have a lot of draft picks, but we also traded a lot of them to move up to get Josh Allen. We also traded a lot of them to move up to get Tremaine Edmunds. After Tremaine Edmunds, we get in Roquan Smith, maybe. I mean, again, guys, you can argue this all day. Tremaine Edmunds, where we got him, was a steal. All the experts said that. So Sean McDermott saw a defensive piece that we all know he's a defensive guy, and he took that. He was willing to give up. Him and Brandon Beane were willing to give up what they gave up to get Tremaine Edmunds, and I'm okay with that. I mean, think about it, guys. If the other option was trade with Denver before Cleveland passed on Chubb, but trading with Denver, then we lose both our first round picks. And maybe at this point that some of you guys might be happy about that, because it sounded like we would have kept 2 of our 3 seconds and all of our thirds in that scenario. Then we would have got Josh Allen and we'd have a bunch of picks. So maybe the Browns taking Ward and not Chubb hurt us. I mean, is that what you guys are saying? Because I'm happy with Edmunds. I'm happy we picked a quarterback. I don't know if I'm happy with Josh Allen yet, but we needed to pick a quarterback. So, yeah, what do we do with Nate now? That is definitely a great question. And yeah, no, Matt Moore is not a bad backup at all. I completely agree with that. I would put him or Sanchez right there as far as someone to pick up, someone to consider. And you know what? Leave Nathan Peterman on the team. You know, Nathan Peterman can learn. He could also be a third string. We had to use our third string quarterback last year in the game. So, you know, either that or we're sticking with Logan Thomas. Maybe that's something. I don't know. I've never seen Logan Thomas throw a ball in my life. So maybe someone, if you went to high school with him or something, has seen it. But Gordon agreed. Gordon agreed with what? We need someone with cold hands. Yeah, I am worried about him starting this early. But like I said, and you agree, Peterman is just awful. We can't put that out there every week, and I don't disagree with that. But I also don't disagree with picking up Matt Moore when we thought Adrian McCarron went out and bringing him in after Nathan Peterman bombs. You know, putting him in there. I don't disagree with that. Or Mark Sanchez. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, he's gonna be. Louis, first of all, thanks for joining me, Lou. Love it to see you. And again, if you guys have not checked out Louis T's channel on YouTube, here he has his own website. Man, if it wasn't for Louis T, this would not be here. So I give him so many shout outs, man. I'll give you shout outs all day, dude, because we talk back and forth, and he's really helped us out, and so we appreciate him. But yeah, I don't disagree with you, Lou. You know, there's so many problems on this Bills team right now. It's not just the quarterback spot, and to think it's just the quarterback spot and try to address it in the way we have, I just think it's irresponsible. But again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Josh Allen goes out there and proves he's ready. I want McDermott to have had that conversation with not Nathan Peterman, with Josh Allen, and say, you know what, no matter what happens this year, you're our starter next year, and that gives him a year just to kind of build everything, get this team ready for Josh Allen. You know, let this just be a preseason season. You know, we'll sketch out 5-6 wins, and I mean, the way we look Sunday, guys, if we get 5 or 6 wins, I'll be very impressed. If we don't do any better, do I regret trading McCarron? Again, I don't regret trading McCarron. The regret falls on not picking up another veteran guy after we traded McCarron. You know, if we pick up a Mark Sanchez or someone said earlier, Matt Moore, right after we trade McCarron, I'm okay with that. McCarron was not going to ever be our answer, right? And you know, he wasn't going to pay a lot of money when we picked him up free agency. The regret is not having a veteran quarterback at all. I mean, if it's not McCarron, that's fine. I was okay with that, but you throw McCarron out there for that 4th preseason game and then you just get rid of him like it meant nothing. And I get it. McCarron actually didn't play that well in that 4th preseason game unless you look at the second half stats alone. But in that first half, he did not play well at all. And I don't mind trading him and getting that, what was that, 5th round pick? You know, I'm excited about that 5th round pick. I think we got more for him than I thought we would. But then we have to get a veteran guy because, again, Nathan Peterman has played 3 halves of football total, and that's just not enough experience on a quarterback on a team for anyone. And bringing Josh Allen into that situation and saying, "Here, learn from Nathan Peterman." Josh Allen makes a mistake, he's going to go to Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman is going to look at him with that same deer in the headlights look we just got from him this Sunday. I don't know what you saw. What did you see? Oh, I would have seen the same thing. Okay, how does that help anybody? How does that help anybody? What's Sean McDermott going to do? Oh, well, my defense looks good. Good. We'll have a top 10 defense and a 30th offense. Like, we haven't seen that before. So, I don't know. Allen might learn better. I'm not saying Allen's not going to learn better than Peterman, but who is he learning from? Who is he learning from? Dable? Maybe. I mean, I haven't gotten enough proof that Brian Dable is a good NFL offensive coordinator. You know, by the time Dable was the quarterback coach in New England, Tom Brady knew what he was doing. Tom Brady can look at a playbook or look at a mistake and say, "Here's what I did." Okay. I mean, that's just the truth, guys. Dable was not Brady's coordinator until, I want to say, 05 or 06. By that time, he's already been in the league 4 years. By that time, he had a year in front of Drew Bledsoe, who at that point was a very good veteran quarterback to learn from. So yeah, I mean, I still want that guy. I still want us to bring in a veteran quarterback. If that includes getting rid of Nathan Peterman, because I don't disagree with any of you. Nathan Peterman's done. Nathan Peterman's shot. Nathan Peterman is not the answer quarterback, and we can't win with him. We can't even look good or respectable with him. We got it. Then fine, let's cut him, and let's pick up Matt Moore. Let's pick up Sanchez. Let's pick up, even like honestly, if we picked up Colin Kaepernick, I wouldn't be like that upset over it. Colin Kaepernick. I mean, is it worth the media attention? Probably not. But at the same time, he knows what it's like. I'm only focusing on football. That's it. From a football standpoint, what am I worried about? So pick up Sanchez, pick up Matt Moore, get rid of Peterman. Fine. But get this guy some help. Get Allen some help. And I'm not talking about weapons on the field. Get him someone to talk to. So, biggest mistake this offseason. Biggest mistake this offseason, guys. What do you think? A lot of people out there are going to say they're not getting offensive line help. And some people will say trading Cordy Glenn to Cincinnati, but I disagree with that completely. Cordy Glenn didn't even play this year. A lot of the offseason stuff, I'm not gonna say a lot of it, but some of it we couldn't even see coming, right? Like Eric Wood, having a neck injury that caused him to retire. Having Eric Wood in right now would be so much better than what we have, right? So we have Eric Wood in. We wouldn't even have Ducasse. We'd have Groy in. And that would make our offensive line that much better. Having Richard Incognito in before he had all his problems, that would make our offensive line so much better. So like those two things, I think those two things put together really hurt us this offseason, and there's nothing we can do about that situation. Obviously, we hope the best for Richard Incognito as far as his personal life goes. Obviously, there's a lot of issues there, and we wish him the best. And Eric Wood, obviously, we wish him the best with his injury. There's nothing you can do there. But as far as biggest mistake that we made this offseason, a lot of Tyrod Taylor fans will say trading Tyrod, right? But if you watch this episode, or the show, we're not the biggest Tyrod fans here either. Man, there's a lot to choose from, Lou. There's a lot to choose from. Not getting him a star receiver. A lot of people actually thought Benjamin was going to be a breakout receiver this year. Last year he suffered the Achilles injury, had a knee injury on top of that when we traded for him, and so everyone thought he'd be a little bit better this season. Obviously, as of week 1, that wasn't the case. Yeah, we just didn't see it happening. I mean, and that really, and maybe that puts behind the 8 ball. Maybe everyone's talking about not getting line help was a big mistake. Well, for all we know, Beane and McDermott had a plan in their head going into the offseason. And, the Wood and Incognito thing happened, and they just wanted to fill in the gaps because they already had this plan on how to help the defense. And they really did. I really think they got some good pieces. Vontae Davis was a scratch last week. I think he's going to play a lot better than Gaines did this past week. You're talking about Tremaine Edmonds. You're talking about Harrison Phillips. A lot of good pieces there that I think are going to help us in the future. And maybe maybe that was a mistake. Instead of as soon as the Wood thing happening, readjusting their plan for the offseason, they might have just stuck with their plan and said, "Oh, we'll get Newhouse and Ducasse to fill in," not thinking that might be the big mistake of your life. We'll see how Josh Allen works out because there's still. I mean, if you watch my quarterback episode before the draft, I still Josh Allen ranked as like the 6th best quarterback in the draft. So in 5 years, I might tell you that the biggest mistake in this offseason for us as Bills fans, or as Bills ownership, I'm sorry, was picking Josh Allen. Right? I mean, obviously Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield weren't available, but Josh Rosen was. Mason Rudolph was, Kyle Lauletta, who I loved, was, Lamar Jackson was, even though Lamar Jackson didn't look that good but it's hard to look good when you only play four snaps, guys. So we'll go and break there, but we'll see. We'll see, Lou. I don't know if that answers your question for you. Biggest mistake this offseason. Man, there's just so many to choose from, and I gave you a couple reasons why. But if you ask me what the biggest mistake this offseason was, and again, in 5 years, I could say it was hiring Brian Daboll. I mean, that there's so many things that have happened to the Bills in this past offseason. That happened to a lot of teams, and good job by your Redskins, by the way. Good job. But anyway, there's a lot of things that happened in this offseason that you could look back at in a couple of years and say those were the biggest mistakes we made right there. But if you're looking at it from here, knowing, because we already knew Eric Wood was going to be out for the season, knowing that and still trading Cordy Glenn might have been our biggest mistake. That's I think what my answer is going to be. My final answer, Lou. If you ask me right now what I think our biggest mistake was, it was probably knowing what happened to Eric Wood at the time. We still didn't know about Incognito's situation, but knowing that Eric Wood would have to retire and still trading away another offensive lineman in Cordy Glenn like that, I think that might have been our biggest mistake this offseason. Kelvin Benjamin, he proved his rookie season that he could be the number one guy. And we wanted to give him that chance to do it again. Obviously his second year, he tore his ACL. And so that kind of put him behind the 8 ball. And then last year he had a lot of injuries prior to that, that led to us wondering if this was it for him, or obviously we're not going to sign him going into this offseason. I think we need to look for a weapon now. And you know what? That Dez Bryant guy's still out there too. And Dez might not be the superstar he once was, but can you imagine if instead of Jeremy Curley, you have Dez Bryant as your number 2? Or heck, if you have Dez Bryant as number 1 and you have Kelvin Benjamin as your number 2. Like, honestly, that changes the whole landscape of the wide receiver position for us. Is he worth being, I don't think he's going to be as much of a head case now as he was, his earlier years in Dallas. There's a maturing process that happens, even with these diva positions that helps out. And he's at that age now, I think, where he just wants to kind of come in and play and not be a head case. And even if he is, if he helps us win, it might be worth it at this point, guys. So maybe we look that way. I knew there were reports out there saying Dez didn't want to come to Buffalo because he wanted to be on a contender. Well, he's been out there long enough now where he might realize playing football somewhere might be the only shot he has of playing football at all. So we'll see. Do I think Shady gets more looks since they start Allen? No, actually, I think Murphy will, because I think Murphy has worked more with Allen this preseason than McCoy has. Because remember, in mini camps and at the start of the training camps, Allen was working with the 3s, which at that time would have been Marcus Murphy because Ivory was listed as the 2, right? So McCoy is the 1 working with Adrian McCarron or Peterman because they were flipping back and forth. And then you have Ivory working with the 2s, and then you have Marcus Murphy working with the 3s. And that's what Josh Allen would have been. So actually, I think we might see more Marcus Murphy, to be honest. Obviously, we're still going to see a bunch of McCoy. I think McCoy has to prove himself as a leader on this offense because, almost by default at this point, I would love to see Josh Allen go in there and prove that he's the leader of this team, and lead this team to whatever record it is, whether it be 4-12 or whether it be a shocking 10-6 or whatever it is, anywhere in between. I'm not saying I see us finishing 10-6. I never saw that, so I wouldn't see that now. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this whole situation. Obviously, we need to be excited as Bills fans. We needed something to happen after that 47-3 debacle in Baltimore. We'll see if that is something that kind of changes the tide a little bit for Buffalo. I don't know if we'll win or not this week. Obviously, a lot of people have their predictions out, and it's not looking good for Buffalo. I'll do my pregame show in a couple days here and tell you what I think, how the game's going to go. Because guess what, guys? The Chargers and the Bills are both 0-1. And you can look at last week and say, well, we looked worse, but we have a different team now. We have a different quarterback. We have a different guy. So if we think that was the biggest issue, we'll see what happens. But maybe we have an offensive scheme for that. We'll see how Daboll does in week 2. But yeah, I'll preview that in a day or two. So if you haven't already subscribed to Believers Talk, subscribe. Like I said, we go live for every Bills game, so I'll give you live play-by-play reaction. I won't show the game due to copyright stuff, but I will definitely go live for those. So if you can't watch them, if you want to watch with a bunch of Bills fans, come on here, and we'll be happy to do that for you. Turn on that notification bell, which will be around this area, and we'll notify you when we go live. So thank you for joining me today. Again, Nathan Peterman is no longer the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. It is now Josh Allen's job. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. You know how we do. Thank you for joining me. But till next time, go Bills.